I'll take that as a yes. So the TSP654 is Star's fastest and most versatile direct thermal printer in terms of interface compatibility. AirPrint allows an Apple user, whether they are using a Mac or an iOS device, to continue with the familiar AirPrint experience they're accustomed to when using their Apple, Mac, or iOS point-of-sale system. Next slide. I'm on the third slide, Kyle. Okay?
Yep.
All right. AirPrint is an Apple feature that creates printed output via Wi-Fi without printer-specific drivers. So in terms of user experience, receipt printing with the TSP654 AirPrint requires no extra configurations, software, or additional drivers. AirPrint uses the Wi-Fi radio embedded in the printer to communicate with the Mac or iOS device. And as you can see on the slide, several companies, some of which are mentioned in the graphic at the bottom right of the slide, make office printers that support AirPrint, and there are over 2,000 printers available globally. Next slide.
Good.
Now, the TSP654 AirPrint is the first AirPrint point-of-sale printer to hit the market, and is now available for point-of-sale developers to work with. Next slide.
Okay.
Now I will explain the benefits of the TSP654 AirPrint, and then after that I'll go over the user experience differences between our SDK, or our software development kit, the AirPrint versus the AirPrint, and then I'll explain the reasons why an ISV would want to integrate the TSP654 AirPrint into a point of sale. Next slide.
Okay.
Okay. First of all, any retailer will tell you that counter space is a precious commodity. They want their counter to be free and clear of clutter, and at the very least, they need the tablet, the payment device, and the printer to be front and center in the point of sale solution. Some retailers mount the cash drawer under the counter or keep the printer there too. A massive laser or inkjet printer that, by the way, requires access from the back or the top to access consumables takes up way too much room. And you see the difference in size there. Next slide. Transaction speed is also very important. And again, laser and inkjet printers don't lend themselves well to the point of sale environment where customers are lined up, waiting for their credit card to be processed by the EMV terminal, and then waiting for the receipt. So a typical inkjet printer takes about 20 seconds, typical laser printer about 10 seconds, and you can get a receipt out of the TSP654 in, less than a second. Next slide. So when comparing total cost of ownership over the long term, that is when factoring the cost of paper, toner, or ink cartridges, which are very expensive, versus direct thermal paper rolls, the TSP654 AirPrint is a much lower cost option for light to medium volume retailers. If one also factors rugged durability, liquid spill resistance, and longer warranty period of the TSP654 versus your typical multifunction printer or inkjet printer, then the TSP654 AirPrint wins all around. And if the retailer is a high volume, then hands down, the direct thermal printing is the way to go. Next slide. Okay, I should also mention that like all the TSP654, the AirPrint model also supports cash drawer operation via the printer's drawer kick port, and it will open the cash drawer after the receipt has been printed. No other AirPrint printer can do that. If the printer is being used in a kitchen to print a restaurant order or chit, then the printer can be fitted with an optional buzzer to alert the cook staff that a chit has been printed. Next slide. So to summarize the benefits of the TSP654 AirPrint, The interface allows for easy discovery of the printers by the iOS device. The printer is purpose-built for retail function. The cost per receipt is much lower than the page printer. The printer automatically selects the best sheet size per receipt. The printer is compact and fast, and so it's ideally suited for the retail and hospitality environment. And finally, the printer can open a cash drawer via the printer's drawer kick port and the cash drawer's cable, or if required, the printer can sound a buzzer if it is plugged into the same DK port, the back of the printer. Next slide. So there are limitations to the AirPrint interface, and I'll go into some detail here versus the limitations versus our software development kit. So this table, next slide.
Yep.
So this table outlines the main differences between the AirPrint interface and the Star software development kit. As I said earlier, no integration is required with AirPrint as long as the point of sale application is only designed for an Apple product. However, if the application requires one-step printing from within the application, then the SDK is the preferred method for generating a receipt. Also, if the application requires a specific receipt size or a specific cash drawer timing, that being before the receipt is printed, because we can control the length of the pulse within the AirPrint interface, or a specific print status confirmation when the SDK is then again, the SDK is the preferred route. Next slide. So this slide just outlines basically that AirPrint is not only compatible with AirPrint, the AirPrint interface. It's what we classified as an intelligent interface. It's also compatible with SDK, with our drivers, with WebPrint, with CloudPrint. I said earlier, all receipts. It's compatible with wired LAN and wireless LAN as well. Next slide. So you should be on the several steps to print slide. So printing using AirPrint is not as easy as printing from an application that has been integrated with our software development kit. There are several steps that must be followed. First, of course, both devices must be on the same network. Then the store associate must click the share icon, that small square icon at the bottom left, and select the print command icon. So scroll right, and then select the print command icon. Then they have to select the printer, and then if there might be more than one on the network, so they have to select that printer, and then click print. So all these functions will take some time, depending on the store associate's dexterity and the quality of the Wi-Fi network. The status check notification, which confirms that the print job has been sent and received, only appears during the printing process, then disappears. So that's not configurable. Next slide. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Another limitation is that the print layout of the AirPrint receipt is limited in sizing. The interface will reduce the size of the receipt automatically to fit the paper width with margin to spare, and the font size may be reduced slightly or maybe even substantially, depending on the look of the receipt that's been generated. So testing is definitely required at the ISV level before sending these out. Next slide. So summary of the limitations. There are several steps to print. You have a fixed paper size to work with. Actually, there's two sizes, but the application will choose one or the other. You have the fixed status check function, and you have limited but fixed cash drawer and buzzer control. To summarize, that's what the big difference between AirPrint and the SDK. Next slide. So in consideration of these limitations, why would an independent software vendor or developer be interested in AirPrint? Next slide. Well, the main reason is that it just works. No integration is needed as long as the application was created to run on an Apple product. The developer can leave the printing to the TSP654 AirPrint, and as I said earlier, in terms of user experience, receipt printing with the TSP654 AirPrint requires no extra configurations, software, or additional drivers because it is a standard Apple feature. Next slide. And so with that, we're opening it up to questions. And Kyle, did we receive any questions during the in the chat feature?
No, so far everybody understood. Give it a minute and see.
Okay. And can you open up the can you unmute the people that are on the call?
Yeah, John, I think you're there.
Yeah, so I just, while we're waiting for questions, I just wanted to introduce myself really quickly and kind of add a couple things. So I'm John Levin. You got my information on the slide there. I'm the product integration manager at Star. My role is primarily to work with all of our software partners and help them to implement this technology. So to what Jean-Luc said in his great webinar, you know, it's really our job to develop technologies to kind of meet our software partners where they are, you know. So it's up to us to develop ways to communicate from any sort of application, any sort of environment. So what we found is many, you know, different applications, whether it's web or iOS based or Mac or Windows, cloud, etc., have different needs. So as you've seen, you know, AirPrint's going to be a really great solution for certain companies that maybe have very limited or simple printing needs. But oftentimes, you know, you may need more control over the printer, and then one of our other solutions, such as our SDKs or Cloud Print or Web Print, might be the best solution for you. So, you know, if you think that AirPrint might be a good solution for you, please feel free to reach out to either Jean-Luc or I, and then we can kind of help walk you through that, discuss the you know, the benefits and limitations a little bit more with you for your particular application, and see if it's a good fit for you. And if it is, well, you know, we can help you to get them. If it's not, we can help you with what might be the appropriate solution for your particular application. So, you know, once again, this is a really cool technology that we're releasing. It's the first of its kind in receipt printing. So we're very excited to put this out there in the market. Please feel free, you know, if you have any questions about this, feel free to chat them in. We'll hang out for a couple more minutes and see if anyone has any questions. But otherwise, please feel free to reach out to us directly. Yeah, thank you.
We still don't have any coming in. John or Luke, can you speak to how you've seen companies integrating the AirPrint already?
Sure. So, you know, we've worked with some partners that, you know, maybe they haven't integrated printing into an iPad application yet, but they have AirPrint support built in. So they don't, you know, they don't want to start out of the gates dedicating the development resources to integrating our iOS SDK, even though, of course, we try and make it as easy as possible to use. So this is a great entry point for ISVs like that, who just want to get something working out in the market as quickly as possible. And then the good news is, as Jean-Luc mentioned, even if let's say you start with AirPrint and then decide to integrate our iOS SDK later, the AirPrint printers you already have in the field are compatible with the SDK as well. So you're not, you know, you can use them in using AirPrint or our SDK, or even some of our other different printer communication technologies. So, you know, it's very, very flexible from that point of view. So really, it's, you know, that's kind of how we envisioned it, is being a very easy entry point for iOS and Mac software applications who want to get something to market quickly, or just have very simple printing needs and don't want to, you know, devote a lot of development resources to coding and full printer support. So it's great for that kind of application. I wanted to add one more clarification on what Jean-Luc mentioned in the presentation. He mentioned about kind of limited control over cash drawer and buzzer, and so I just wanted to add a little bit more to that. So, you know, with applications like our methods of communicating to a printer, such as our SDK, WebPrint, etc., you have full control over the cash drawer, which is traditionally plugged into the back of the printer. So you can actually control the cash drawer independently of the printer. So let's say you want to open the cash drawer to make change, but you aren't printing something. That's the kind of full control over the printer and cash drawer you have with mechanisms like our SDK, whereas with AirPrint, because there's in the AirPrint specification from Apple, there is no cash drawer control. So what we did is, in the printer itself, just pops the cash drawer or rings the buzzer with every print job, or not at all. That's configurable. So, you know, you don't have quite the full control.
Okay, John, we have a few questions coming through now.
Great.
Can we give them the receipts per minute, the printing speed, based off the specs today? Jean-Luc? I believe it's currently the same as the TSP652.
Yes, that's correct. I'm trying to remember the spec.
Okay. I have another kind of technical one for you. What's the difference between the AirPrint and the Mac driver?
Sure. So first, to answer your first question, the print speed is, you know, it's rated at about 60 receipts per minute. That's printing, I think it was 6-inch receipts as quickly as possible. So, you know, it's quick. It's based on our TSP650 series printer, which is a very fast printer. When you talk about print speed with AirPrint versus other technologies like our SDK, it might be a second, 1-2 seconds slower, but it's still quite fast. So it's definitely fast enough for receipt printing. And then you said the question was AirPrint versus traditional, the Mac drivers?
The Mac driver, yeah, correct.
Yeah, so really it's a completely different print mechanism or printing system. So the Mac drivers are, it's based on the CUPS printing system, whereas AirPrint is really, it started out as the very basic printing system for iOS, and it moved over to Mac later as they started to, you know, have the kind of Mac apps. You could kind of keep that code, keep that AirPrint printing experience as you went across both platforms. So you can print in both ways from on Mac, from either using the print driver or using AirPrint. With AirPrint, you don't need a print driver. So that's kind of a benefit there.
Okay. Do you know if we'll be able to use multiple AirPrint printers for the same network?
Sure. So you know, again, you have to, so it's a network printer. So your iPad or your device is going to see, it presents to you a list of available printers. Then you would have to choose which one you wanted to print to. But yes, it can, you can use multiple printers on a network. It will, you know, discover all of the available AirPrint printers. And it might be even your office kind of inkjet printer that's on the same network too. It would, it will display everything.
Okay. Do we have plans for other AirPrint devices that are more mobile friendly instead of countertop focused?
So yeah, it's a very good question. Today, so it's definitely something we're thinking about. Today, all of our portable printers really are Bluetooth. That's tended to be what the market has kind of asked for. We do a lot with the Bluetooth printers for portable purposes because it just by nature it's a one-to-one kind of thing. AirPrint is only possible, at least today. Apple only allows it for networked printers. So people tend not to use the networked printers with portable printers. Of course, it's in some environments it can definitely work. But yeah, we don't have that today. It's certainly something that we're thinking about.
Okay. Back to the multiple printers. How would they be labeled on the network if we have more than one?
That's a good question. I'll have to take a look at that and get back to the person who asked that. So please note their info, and I'll reach out to them.
Is the question regarding connecting the printers to the network?
No, it's what displays when you display the list of when iOS displays the list of available AirPrint printers. I can't remember what the what is shown for the printer name.
Oh,
so
I
if
see.
you had two on the network, what it would show.
Oh, I see. Right.
But I'll confirm that.
That's a good question. Yeah, if you have more than one printer, that's a good question.
So can multiple iOS devices send print jobs to the same AirPrint? And if so, how do they handle the queued jobs?
So yes, multiple, because of their network devices, multiple iOS or Mac devices can share a printer, can both send print jobs to one printer. I'm not sure exactly what happens if they're sent exactly simultaneously. That I'll have to look into.
Okay. What's the current price?
Question was the price?
Yeah, the price of the AirPrint.
That's a question that needs to be put to that's a question that needs to be put to the resellers that are selling that. So you'd have to get in touch with an authorized reseller, Star Micronics, and find that out from them. Sorry about that.
Okay. That's great. So it seems like David says that the printers can be renamed via web configuration for the multiple printers. Is that correct, John?
Yeah, that possibly I can't recall. I believe so.
No. Okay. I believe that's all we have coming in. If nobody has any other questions, we have some extra time to wait and answer them, but that looks like all. No, that's okay. All of them.
All right.
We can send the presentation afterwards to anybody. Yes, it'll go out in an email.
Okay. All right. Well, we can end it by saying thank you to everybody who joined, and stay tuned until we have another webinar. Sorry for the late start.
Yeah, a bit of technical issues on our side. Apologize. But we will give you the information. We'll send the presentations over. And that's all. We have another webinar coming up next week on Sofitar digital signage. That please feel free to stop by and listen to the great presentation there. So, thank you.
Thank you, Kyle. Thank you, John. Thank you, everybody.
So did it record?
Mm-hmm.
Are you sure?
Mm-hmm.
Because you swore it was on.